Hello everyone, it's the real Sean Caffrey here, speaking to you in person for the first time at 18 years old. Now, I understand you guys have questions that you want to ask me. But don't worry, I have 5 viewers asking me questions. So we're going to start with James the Parody Maker, and he asks 4 questions. What are your favorite Pixar movies? Well, one of my favorites is Toy Story 3, although I like all the Toy Story films. There's also Up, WALL-E, Inside Out, and I remember seeing Monsters, Inc. a few times and enjoying it. What gaming systems do you own? I mostly have Nintendo consoles. Like, I have a Wii U, a Nintendo Switch, and a 3DS, which I just call a DS because a DS is a DS. I also think I still have it. I used to have a Game Boy Color, and it would have like a Tetris game on it. I don't know if it's even working nowadays though. Although I also have a PS4, or technically my sister does. So they are the gaming systems that I own, as well as a computer, which you may be watching this video on. Mario or Sonic? Look, I'm sorry if you prefer Sonic. He's great and all, but I kind of have to go with Mario because I'm more familiar with him. Yeah, I haven't really played too many Sonic games, but I have seen the 2020 film and the 2022 sequel, both of which were pretty good. James Marsden and Jim Carrey, you know that? What Mario games do you like the best? You know, I'm gonna go with the 3D games. Like, I like Super Mario 64 DS. I haven't really played the original Mario 64 because I never had a Nintendo 64. But I do have Super Mario 3D All-Stars, so I might play that on the Switch. But I'm a big fan of 3D World and Odyssey as well because of the platforming style of 3D World and the exploration of Mario Odyssey. Next viewer is Mesmerizing Marble Races, and he asks, what's your favorite Wallace and Gromit film? Oh, that is a very good question. I actually recite Wallace and Gromit sometimes with my friend Daniel. One of my favorite Wallace and Gromit films to recite is A Close Shave, simply because I remember it more than A Grand Day Out or The Wrong Trousers. Don't get me wrong, I do like The Wrong Trousers. It's just, I remember watching A Close Shave more often. Yeah, I prefer A Close Shave, but it's very closely followed by the Curse of the Were-Rabbit movie. That is a blast. Do you think In the Night Garden should be shown every night on CBeebies? It is, by the way. You know what? If it means we get at least one classic CBeebies show still showing. Because, think about it, a lot of iconic CBeebies shows like Brum, Bob the Builder, Balamori, Mr. Maker, they've all been edged away in favor of modern tripe like Bing and Hey Dougie. And if you like those shows, bloody good on ya. They're harmless. But okay, yeah, there are still some good shows like Bluey, the Learning Blocks franchise, and whatever Justin Fletcher's up to. But otherwise, nah, mate. So, yes, I do think In the Night Garden should still be shown every night on CBeebies. Which Gigglebiz character, you can choose only one, do you think should be brought back for a 6th series? Oh, there are a lot of characters that have gotten cut throughout the history of Gigglebiz, But if I had to pick one to be brought back, I'd have to choose Posty. Posty only appeared in 3 episodes in season 1 of Gigglebiz, and he was just a postman who kept failing to deliver the letters that you had to deliver. And he'd have like a few segments in the 1 episode. He only appeared 3 times, which is the least of any Gigglebiz character. He should definitely get another chance if a 6th series should happen. Although I wouldn't be too shocked if other characters returned. And I'd also be welcoming to new faces. Can you tell me a bit about Lazy Town and Lunar Gym? I never got the chance to watch these. I'm so glad you asked. Lazy Town started as a series of plays and soon became a show in, I think it was 2004. And in 2007, that's when it ended. So the premise of Lazy Town as a franchise is Lazy Town, the place is filled with people who are incredibly lazy. I mean, they always play video games and they eat candy, and in comes a hero called Sporticus, who helps these kids become active and learn the right and wrong things regarding health. But then there's Robbie Rotten, who does not make it easy. The show got revived in 2013, I think, with a few new actors for the puppet, for some of the kids, as well as Stephanie. But yeah. So yeah, you should watch Lazy Town. In terms of, as for Lunar Gym is set on the moon. There are 3 astronauts. Jim himself is the main character who likes jumping into adventures. Ripple is Jim's close friend who invents things. And Eco is, I guess, the environmental farmer of the group. And each are recognized, you can distinguish each by their spacesuits. Jim is partially blue, Ripple is partially red, and Eco is partially green. They also are accompanied by 2 robots. A dog called Rover, and an actual humanoid robot called Ted, short for Technical Equipment Device. In terms of the stories they get up to, normally it's about Jim exploring something, and normally Ted wants to tag along. It's all about problem solving in this series. Jim has to think around problems. They may be as clear as day to us, but it may take the characters a while to figure out the solutions. But when they do, it actually does feel satisfying. Which numberjack, any from 0 to 9, do you think is most responsible on a mission? My argument would be 5. Now, the reason I say 5 is because she is the one that often plans the worst case scenario when something wrong happens, with the anything can happen or imagination sequence. So yeah, I'd say she'd be the most responsible on a mission. But if you have any opposing thoughts, do let me know. Are there DVDs you really want and haven't got quite yet? Well, there is one. Yeah, I vaguely remember in the back of my head a DVD, maybe a sampler DVD of some of the shows on that would be on Playhouse Disney. All I remember from it was an episode of Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, maybe the theme tune to another show called the Doodle Bops, and maybe an ad for one of the parks. That's one example. At some point in the future, I might also like to receive the Balamory and Captain Mac DVDs, because I recently got into both Balamory and Captain Mac, and they're actually good shows. So yeah, maybe the DVDs to them. Next we got Mickey Peters Ty, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, also known as the Blu-ray and Music Guy, and he asks, how did you get into Gigglebiz? That is actually a very interesting story. I believe it started sometime during the pandemic. Me and my mom, or it could have been my dad, went to a fast food place called Supermax. Now keep in mind, only the drive-thru was open, and Supermax they give out a lot of unusual things with the kids' meals. One of them was a CBeebies annual from 2020. And that had a segment that not a segment, 2 pages dedicated to Gigglebiz. And then that unlocked a memory in my head. Where I remembered a scene from when... Okay, so I've gone through a few TVs and TV boxes. One of them, which had some CBeebies show recorded, I can't remember which one, but before it started with the Gigglebiz Funny Facts video of Rapids Johnson. All I remember is that it would start with, from Gigglebiz, and then Rapids Johnson would say, keep 'em peeled, because that part had literally just ended. So that got me curious, and I thought, you know what, sign me up. And then I looked online and, wow, Justin's really good. And slowly but surely, Gigglebiz became one of my favorite shows. Next up, we have Yafit Yiman Backup. Again, sorry if I'm not pronouncing that right. Okay, Bad Mad or Sad Mad? This is from a show called Maths Mansion, and I do suggest it, especially if you want to teach your kids maths. I'd kind of go with Sad Man, because considering that both of these characters are played by Chris Jarvis, who used to be a presenter on CBeebies, I think Sad Man suits Chris's CBeebies presenter personality a little bit more than Bad Man, but I do think some of Bad Man's disses are enjoyable. Who's your favorite Gigglebiz character out of Storybook Stan, Arthur Sleep, and Keith Fit? If you don't know, they're my 3 favorite Gigglebiz characters. If I had to pick just one, I'd go with Arthur Sleep, because he appears in so many episodes, but I don't think he overstays his welcome. Although Storybook Stan is close, because, yeah, we need a bit of a break from all the crazy antics of Gigglebiz, and not even Storybook Stan can escape it. Yeah, Arthur Sleep, I like to compare to Fozzie Bear from the Muppets. Sure, their jokes are a bit corny, but they're still funny. And he also, and the backup also asks, what's your opinion on Robbie Rotten? Ooh, another Lazy Town question. Probably one of my favorite villains in TV, because he's so over the top. Stefan Carl Stephenson did a great job portraying Robbie. It's a shame he passed away. But, yeah, Robbie Rotten is one of the most enjoyable parts of Lazy Town, because, ironically, he's way more over-the-top, bouncy, and energetic than Sportacus. And he also has some of the best lines in the series. And our last viewer to ask me a question, or some questions, is my good friend Jacob JCB. He asks, Earth Pony, Unicorn, or Pegasus? I would say Pegasus. What's your favorite type of drink? Depends on what you mean by that. My favorite drink overall? It's milk. But in terms of flavor, like a fruit flavor, I'd probably go with apple juice. And apple flavored smoothies. I like the innocent smoothies. Have you watched Red Cliff Railway Tales, The Railway's Last Stand? Yes, I have, and if you haven't, go watch that after this video. I don't care if you have anything else to do, just do check it out at some point. Whoever made it, I forget, was it Train Lover 16? Yeah, Train Lover 16 worked his butt off. So please give it the attention it deserves. Which Cunning Clue quiz has been your favorite? In terms of the ones I've created, I'd probably go with the first one I made, or the first few that I made. I remember the first one I did was Edward from Thomas and Friends. Then there was... I also remember doing one for Robbie from Pingu. I also liked doing the one for Rarity from My Little Pony. Okay, in terms of the actual Cunning Clue quizzes, like the ones that actually aired on CBeebies, my favorite would be the one featuring Brum, because it actually required you to think. Like, I wouldn't have guessed that Brum was a legitimate superhero. I just thought he was, plain and simple, a hero. And in terms of the Cunning Clues that Jacob came up with, my favorite one would probably your most recent one as of this recording, the one featuring all four of the Wiggles, because if the Wiggles did air on CBeebies, that would actually be a very good Who Am I segment. Who is your favorite all-star? There are just too many to narrow down. There's Thomas, Pingu, Lofty from Bob the Builder, Twilight Sparkle, Fluttershy, Sunny and Izzy from My Little Pony, Miss Hooley from Balamori, Roly Mo from the Fimbles, and Blue from the Color Blocks, just to name 10. Strawberry, vanilla, or chocolate? I'd probably go with... Like, I haven't really had chocolate a lot. I've mostly had vanilla, but I would go with chocolate. What inspired you to join YouTube? That would be thanks to people like Mascot the EC2 tank engine? Hold on. Let me get his name again. Ah, here it is. Mascot the MSC tank engine 2004. I looked up to people like him, as well as YouTubers like the Cartoon Man 12, Strongdrew941, and Jake Doggo 667, I think it was. I wanted to show my redone music videos and showcase some of my talent. And yeah, that's what inspired me to join YouTube. And his last question is, if you had to reboot an old show from your childhood, which show would it be? Let me think about it for a second. You know what? There are just so many, I might as well list them all. Some of the shows that would air on Milkshake and Nick Jr., as in Milkshake and Nick Jr., are my first guess, like Rory the Racing Car and Fifi and the Flower Tots. With CBeebies shows, I'd go with Kerwiz, and as the Kerwiz fanboy once suggested, why not have the recurring characters come back slightly older and maybe bring in newer, younger contestants to have like a rookie versus experienced kind of ordeal. And another show I'd want to consider revisiting and potentially rebooting is Rubbadubbers. Because Rubbadubbers, it may have flown under my radar as a kid, but I definitely remembered the theme to it, and I revisited it recently, and I think it was good. So yeah, there are just some shows that I'd consider rebooting. Just please don't take the same approach as Bob the Builder or Fireman Sam. And please, whatever you do, don't go the direction of All Engines Go. If you want to see examples of good reboots, check out shows like the 2017 DuckTales, the newer episodes of Morph. And there you have it. Those are my answers to some of your questions. I hope they were acceptable, and I'll see you soon.